Hello everyone. Welcome to today's cast of SpyParty Competitive League Season 8. And this is a pretty exciting one because for the past 7 weeks, we've been running through the round robin in all the divisions. And today, the postseason championship matches begin. My name is Dels. I've been gone for a little while, so you might not have heard me cast recently, but this is a great time to come back. Joining me today is my co-caster, Aiko.
Hello, hello.
So yesterday, if you tuned in, we were watching some of the matches from the Challenger Division, which we're just wrapping up. Challenger Division is all the new players who joined during the season, and they get to challenge each other to matches. But today, we have the complete opposite end of the spectrum. We are looking at the postseason championship. These are all players who placed near the top of their division and are now duking it out to be the champion of this season of SCL. And so there's two different championships that are happening, right?
Yeah, we've got the regular championship, which is everyone between bronze and gold. So bronze, silver, gold. We also have the Master Championship, which is happening between our two highest divisions of Platinum and Diamond.
Exactly. Platinum and Diamond, they've been playing slightly differently all season long. They've had longer sets because they are designated as the Master Circuit. And so they have their own championship here, the winner of which will be the champion, the Master Champion of the season. And so if you look at both of these, you've got players ranging here from Platinum 1 all the way down to Platinum 4. So even if you weren't in Diamond, even if you weren't in the highest tier, even if you placed, not quite at the top of Platinum, you still have a chance to be the Master Champion of the season. But you are going to have to really work for it. You're going to have to earn your way there. Because if you look over there on the right, Diamond 1, Rav. Rav placed at the top of Diamond. So Rav will only have to win one match and then the grand finals to be the champion. Whereas the players we're going to be watching today, we're going to be seeing the match from Nebula and T-Flame later. Whoever wins that is going to have to win the next match. Then they're going to have to potentially go up against Rav, then the grand finals. So while you do make it into the championship, even if your placement in the season wasn't the highest, you do have your work cut out for you if you want to go higher. And then let's take a look at the regular season championship as well.
Yep.
And
We've got
yeah, go
bronze,
ahead.
silver, and gold. Yeah. So yeah, gold kind of the top three there automatically get that bye into that second round there, along with our silver top placer of Yash. Um, while bronze and the second and third place in silver all kind of are starting from behind a little bit here. The top four in bronze typically would be the ones fighting it out. Um, we did have a forfeit, so Hyper automatically gets a bye in place of that, while Slappydavis and Brycea will be fighting out for that last spot to go into the next round, where then they will have to be picked out from those four who got that bye, who will then fall into a final four and then have a grand finals. So very similarly, these these two players here who are in that A1 spot there have got a long path ahead of them to this grand final here.
Exactly. And it's not just that being a higher seed means you get to skip out on some of the matches. You also get your choice of which opponent you want to face. So the first match we're going to be seeing today, it's the one up there at the top left, Slappydavis versus Bryce. Whoever wins that will move on. But then Gentleman, right, who is the gold number 1 seed, will actually get to pick, do I want to face the winner of Slappydavis versus Bryce? Do I want to face Magic Doer? Do I want to face Calumet or Hypixer? You get your choice if you are the higher seed. So Bryce is basically slipping in here. Bronze 4, the lowest possible rank to have still made it into the championship. It would be an absolute underdog climb if he's able to not just pull out this win, but make it into the finals at all. But I don't think it's impossible. Bryce is a newer player, right? And he's been grinding out a lot of matches lately. If you look at actually the stats of the regular season, Bryce started off the season getting a couple of losses, but he has actually won 3 of his last 4 matches. And the last time he played Slappydavis was back in week 1, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say at that kind of I guess you could argue most rusty for Slappy, but also least experienced for Bryce. So, you it's really tough to say which kind of affected which player more. You can kind of see just Slappy stayed pretty consistent throughout the season, but Bryce has really racked up a lot of momentum going into like the end of the season, really only having that loss against the top seed of the division.
Yeah, and this is a dynamic that I feel often comes up in Spy Party competitive. You have one player, Slappy, who is a long-term veteran, is just an expert at casting games, at analyzing games, has played a ton over the years, but isn't necessarily in the most practice at the moment. And then you have a new player like Bryce. Sometimes a new player just shows up, gets really, really into the game, especially when there's a competitive event going on that makes them want to practice a lot. And they just start racking up a ton of experience and a ton of wins. And they can even surpass some of the veterans. I mean, like I said, I've been gone for a little while now. Some players who hadn't even started the last time I cast a match are now up in the Diamond League. And that's like completely crazy to see. And you never know if a new player is going to take that arc. So if Bryce can pull out a win against Slappy here, it would be really impressive.
Yeah, I was just really looking to see what we're kind of expecting from this dark horse. Very exciting stuff.
All right, well, let's take a look at the draft here. So the last time Bryce and Slappy played, they played all the way back in week 1. And at that point, they played 4 games of Modern against each other and they played 4 games of Ballroom. And Bryce actually started the set 2-0 on Modern. Modern is actually where they picked up their only 2 games in that set. So both players are happy to see Modern again. But like I said, there was a doubled ballroom last time, and Bryce lost all 4 of those. And this time he has just banned it against Slappy.
Yeah, really unfortunate trajectory of that kind of first time around of, you start with all the momentum, you get the first sweep of the game and it's on your opponent's double, but just completely fell apart, turned right around and just got swept back. So really hoping to kind of change the narrative on that one and, make sure that we're not going back the same way. And hopefully for Bryce, getting rid of ballroom there will do that for him.
Yeah, and Bryce has actually picked both of the 5 of 8s, which is interesting. I know that Slappy has traditionally played some sort of slower paced spy games. He used to have a reputation for timing out a lot. Maybe the thinking is if you pick these longer venues, Slappy might not get missions done right until the very end. But we are starting off with that library pick here from Bryce. It's going to be Bryce playing as Rocker on Library. Have we got everything set up and ready to go?
Think so.
Perfect. Well, let's get started with it
Uh,
in 3, 2, 1. Playing it. And I think Slappy and Bryce, they actually play very similarly as Spy. They're both players who like to play sort of slow-paced games, just getting nice mission progress at even intervals throughout the match. They both tend to favor taking microfilms as well, so I'm not surprised to see Slappy start by just ripping this book out. It's something you can just idle with for a while and then just go put in a bookshelf, whenever you're not able to be making flirt progress.
yeah, definitely good thing to just kind of have that and just be like, I've ripped this book out. You have no idea where it came from. Maybe you could credit me with microfilm later when I put it away, but you'll have no definitive proof because you weren't watching. But I will say we did try and get that flared off right at the start too and get a little bit extra progress, but we did hit a red test. So it's going to be a little bit of a back set, but I would not worry about flirt too much on library. You know, it's a large venue for sure, but you get plenty of time to compensate.
Exactly. And I think the fact that we already picked up that briefcase, we got our first fingerprint, we have this book, we are still on pretty good pace here. A green flirt would definitely help with that. Unfortunately, we hit a white. Slappy stops talking immediately, doesn't want to even be seen talking at all, in case that's something that Bryce is looking for. Now, if we idle here for the next
Banana
45
bread.
seconds, it could be a problem, but we actually do a banana split. We do the banana bread. We get a low light for walking away from the conversation. We're actually going to go read the book at the window as
Quite
well. But, oh, Bryce reconsiders it. Not sure if Rocker was actually out of combo at all. Brings us back up to a neutral light.
quite the opposite of idling there, Dells. But yeah, I would say this worked out pretty. I want to say net neutral, maybe a little. It's a little, hard to tell because yes, Slappy got the mission away and got kind of low lit for a second, but it's hard to tell if that's kind of one of those I'm just keeping you there because you're safe, or if that's an I'm bringing you back up to neutral light because I think you really just pulled that, and now I'm going to keep a little bit of an extra eye on you.
Right, she was
And I
walking
think
pretty far away from the conversation. And the problem with being brought back up is that now it makes an impression in the sniper's mind. Even if they're not super suspicious, they will remember, oh, Rocker, that's the one I low lit, but then brought back up. So as you go do more missions, you may leave more of an impact on the sniper. So Slappy actually returned the book to yellow. Why do you think that is?
I actually think Slappy may have kind of seen the laser and actually suspected that, the BB was kind of the split wasn't trusted, that maybe felt the low light initially, but brought it back up and just kind of said, "Hey, I think I got a little bit more attention for that than I was hoping to. I'm gonna just not trust that I can get away with this right now." And just opt for better, a different mission that may suit me better here.
Right. My issue with that is we ripped that book out at the beginning. So I feel like it's kind of a scenario where if the sniper saw you rip that book out, you would be a top suspect and potentially shot anyway. So maybe you just have to sort of take the chances and try to return it somewhere else, hoping that they didn't see you. Because if they did see you, you're probably already dead anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. That I definitely think that the better move would have just been to commit to the transfer, especially because you had a book in your hand for so long that it made it, a little bit harder to kind of do that. We are going to take a bug, and it is hated and shot.
It was a really awkward path. We had to bounce around that
Mm.
ambassador a lot. And for a moment, I thought, oh, maybe that actually makes it look natural. But if you just end up walking through the middle of a conversation like that, I think it looks pretty bad. It looks pretty bad to the sniper.
Yeah, you can maybe kind of get away with that on the spots of the circle that are more towards the railing there, but when you're that far back, they're not expecting you to be cutting through like that unless you're up to some shady business. And that
Right, and it doesn't
Slappy
even look like the
was.
sniper was fully looking at it, but as we landed in combo, our arm just makes a total windmill off to the side. So, not quite the bug that Slappy was envisioning. It's really funny that Bryce sort of took a moment and like highlighted her and then was like, no, no, that was just a bug. We're just shooting it.
And I mean, hey, that I think is pretty important that it's like it really speaks to the sort of clarity of mind that Bryce is really having in that moment of just saying, "Hold on, I have time." I don't think this is necessarily like, and even if it was a finishing bug somehow, some way, I have 10 seconds. I'm gonna think, highlight that because that was clearly bad looking. All right, no, that was just a bug. I'm gonna shoot you. And it's important to kind of be able to pause for a brief moment, not too long, and just kind of collect your thoughts, make sure you're there, and just line up the shot.
Exactly. And that's twice this game that Bryce showed that they can sort of stay calm and reassess situations, because they also did it when they low lit and then neutral lit Rocker after the BB split. So unfortunately for Slappy, he got spooked by that. He tried to put the book back in the correct bookcase and then he was low on mission progress. He had to try to go get any bug that he could, and it didn't work out thanks to Toby being in the way. So Bryce picks up the first point. That's got to feel good. Bryce spying now as Tex in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, getting that first point is good, but at the same time, if you're thinking about that last scoreline, it can almost feel like an omen. However, we're at a very similar start here, going to yellow books. I wonder if we will do some ripping of our own. We will.
I told you these players both love doing microfilm, and I think it's because neither of them are particularly drawn to doing, super bold or cheesy plays. Whereas a book, it's just not technically a hard tell. I mean, ripping it out of a bookcase is a hard tell, but then going to put it back, it feels nice, it feels safe. You can do it anytime you want. You don't have to line up a perfect circumstance, like with a bug or a purloin. You can just go return that book whenever you feel like it, and it just helps you sort of make good paced progress.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's any venue that really calls for it, it is library. It's really, you can at most have like a bookcase and a half in your view at a given time as sniper. So it really feels like just easy to pull some shenanigans there. I mean, it's the venue dedicated to the books. I would hope you do something with them.
Yeah, and I think microfilm is just generally considered to be one of the worst missions, right? Either you have to do two hard tells, or you just have to really hope the sniper has a bad memory. But I
Banana
think that's
bread.
why spies actually like to do it sometimes, because they know a sniper's not paying super close attention for it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what this game is all about, really. It's kind of just balancing, where do you think that sniper is going to be paying that attention? Where do you think you can take advantage of their places where they kind of slip a little bit more often than not?
Yeah, and so we took a banana bread while we were in the convo over there. It's a decent one, doesn't let off too many low lights. Most people in the party were in conversation, and I think if you've got an opportunity to go for a banana bread like that, you may as well take it. We've walked over to the seduction target now. We've got 2 flirts done. We're still holding on to this book. So, like I said, I think both of these players like doing soft tells. They don't like making bold plays necessarily, but on a 5 of 8 venue, at some point, you are going to have to do a hard tell. Even if you return this book, you probably don't have time to get 2 fingerprints anymore. Maybe you do, but there's only a little bit more than 2 minutes left. You might have to try to find a good moment to go for a bug or a purloin.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and even also the option of, with this book, we return that, into a different shelf. We get that mission. We just finished Seduce here. We could even just go for an inspect swap, and I wouldn't hate that. We're a pretty wide frame character. So, you could even argue some extent of hiding. Tex isn't the best, like General or Taft per se, but, I wouldn't hate it if we were to just go and do that right now. We don't. We just stop in this convo, but it looks like we got that third mission off clean. Oh, we actually might be.
Yeah, I mean, a minute 32 left. The sniper is not necessarily expecting a finish right now. They don't know about the microfilm. It's kind of rare for a spy to have all missions done by a minute 30 on the clock. So if you go for a swap here, there's a chance the sniper doesn't look right away, but I don't think Bryce had the time to do it. They got white test on too many of those inspects, and I think they were worried that swapping might have left them at that statue for a little bit too long. So Bryce bailed out of it if he was planning to do it at all.
Yeah, and I think that also, I mean, Slappy was really telegraphing the swing backs on that swap to kind of
Oh,
say, you better not do that or I will shoot you. Oh, we take a purloin and we walk right past through the conversation, but we are going to get shot for that. That's not going to fly here.
yeah, and I feel like, see, it's a similar story as to what we saw last game. It's really hard to finish all your missions on time on library. There was a minute left. Bryce wasn't really sure what he would be able to do. A swap would be easily catchable. A bug, you don't know if there'll be a setup for it. So you just had to try something. Went for the purloin. If it were green, maybe that would have worked if we're not really a big suspect, but as a person who just visited statues doing a white purloin, it's not going to work out.
I was gonna say we talked about how microfilm can be argued to be the worst mission to do in a lot of cases. I argue a white purloin is the worst mission you can do.
That's
Many a
true.
spy burned there.
Yeah, I think a white purloin is like the mission that just most leads to a spy being anticlimactically shot. Well, they've come out 1-1 on library, and now we're moving into modern. Like I said, Bryce did have some success on this venue against Slappy before, so hoping that he can replicate it now. Slappy is going to be spying, playing as one of the twins in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Notably bling twin. It's very important which twin you choose. It says a lot about how many times you click the random button and what checker decided to give you, probably.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I was looking at it. I didn't really have a good angle. I was like, it's one of the twins. It's one of the twins. That's the
He's
whole
got a
point.
blue
That's why
suit
Checker
on.
put
That's
them
all
in
you
the
need to
game.
know.
He wants to
Exactly.
confuse us. I'm in the spirit of the game by not knowing which one is which, even if I'm looking right at them. This is a
This
far
is a
window
very
pad to be
innocent
landing
start.
at.
Yeah, I
The
almost.
problem with oh god, are we I thought we were like missing a
No,
pad, but we actually like looped around to get the briefcase. We didn't want to pick it up through the
no,
window. And we're
that's
actually
just a
putting it right
briefcase hanging in
down.
your walls.
Yeah, and that's legal. The ambassador was nearby. Wait, was it legal? Because if the ambassador had their back
I
with the
think
couch behind them and we couldn't reach them, I think it's legal to put it down.
yeah, I'm not totally sure off the top of my head how legal that was, but it looks like we kind of just got away with it. I feel like given it being in such a nice, neat little hidden corner there, it kind of just feels right to put it down anyway, even if it isn't legal.
Exactly. And it was at a statue pad. It's somewhere, if you see someone standing at a statue pad, you don't necessarily pay a ton of attention to them because it's like, oh, maybe they're just doing statues or something like that. There's a chance that Bryce didn't really register that a briefcase pickup and put down was happening there. That said, we were near the ambassador, so it is somewhere that the sniper's eyes were potentially looking.
Yeah. We are just gonna take our delegate here for a purloin. If we actually do something with that, that remains to be seen.
Oh, a green fingerprint off of it as well.
Oh, nicely done.
I think with that, you have a clear game plan to win here. Wait,
Oh,
there's a safety coming off from the sniper, but the laser was waving around, and I don't know if it was on Slappy.
uh, I wonder if it was on Irish there having the briefcase. I don't know if that was her first or second print. Um,
I think the game plan is pretty clear here for Slappy. If you don't think the sniper has credited you with 2 prints here, maybe they didn't catch the briefcase. Maybe they're not crediting you with the difficult at the bar over there. The bar was pretty busy. All you have to do is send off the delegate purloin, and if someone takes it and the sniper doesn't know who did it, oh god, they're Bryce
yeah,
is actually super super confident about this. Wow.
wow.
I thought
Yeah,
Slappy was doing well there.
just really not liking us at all there, I guess. Oh yeah,
It's
that safety off was on us. Must have been really just right on top of those prints, more than we
It's
thought
possible that the
there.
briefcase was really suspected after all, but I genuinely don't know. I don't think you are allowed to return it to the ambassador if he has his back with a couch right behind it there. There's no room. So I don't know. Putting it down was the correct play, but it might have looked suspicious to Bryce anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of anything else that could have gotten us suspicion realistically. I mean, we we literally we started at the farthest window, and moved over there by choice. It literally was just the back-to-back prints, I think, that kind of just were, yeah, Bryce was on top of it and we got shot for it. very fair shot, I suppose.
Yeah, being able to shoot the spy like that, even when one of their fingerprints was a difficult, it is quite impressive. And that puts Bryce up 2-1. Bryce going to be spying now, playing as Ponytail in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
You
And
do
I
kind
think
of
that's the
wonder.
kind of game. Oh, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do kind of wonder when you have two players like this. Nice mispad. um, Played it clean as a whistle there. But no, I feel like you do wonder sometimes when you pull off a shot like that. That's a little bit early, but just so confident. When you're in a game with two players like this who are known for kind of being more reserved in their spies, as someone who myself has a history of being that reserved spy for sure, it kind of, you wonder sometimes if a shot like that will kind of push you into a box a little bit. And it'll be interesting to see on Slappy's future spies if we get more reserved or if we kind of keep trying to be a little aggressive here.
Yeah, I agree because Slappy's spy, I think, is just based on the idea of like, look, you can't catch me. I'm not going to do anything obvious in your face. I'm not going to go do an early hard tell. I'm just going to slowly flirt, slowly grab my fingerprints. It's all going to be soft tells. It's the type of game that you're not supposed to be able to shoot until, they've slowly gotten credit for 4 missions. So the fact that Bryce was that confident that early is something that could scare Slappy, I think. Meanwhile, in this game, Bryce has been making a little bit of slow progress. We ripped out the book yet again, but unfortunately, we weren't able to get very close to our seduction target, so we only have a 17% flirt. The book, it looks like we're setting up to go return it to a bookcase, but we don't want to be too obvious about it. We probably just want to wait here for a little bit, maybe quickly slip into green. The question is, are we just going to do it openly and spend time reading the book at the green bookcase, or are we just waiting for an opportunity to slip over there, slide it in when we think the sniper's not looking, and then just dash out?
Yeah, it's not really too much of an opportunity there. I was gonna say Amba wasn't really like too unsafe. And of course, as soon as we walk away from that potential opportunity, Amba's now, right next to somebody here. But we are going to get a nice green flirt there, 51% to get us back on track here for a two flirt, hopefully, or three with that red test. But who's counting?
Yeah, I think this is when you really have to start worrying about your progress. We're just going to go put the green book in right now. Sniper doesn't seem to really be paying much attention to it. I mean, Alice is just behind a pillar, so we're not even really looking at her for a microfilm either most of the time here. The book goes back in with no shot happening, which is good news for Bryce. However, 90 seconds left to finish the flirt is a little bit dicey. Hopefully, we can hit a green flirt here. We have to get that done ASAP, and we do hit the green flirt. Bryce shakes the camera a little bit. Pretty happy about
Yep.
that.
To say now, the question is, what are our third and fourth missions with only 75
Banana
seconds
bread.
left now? We hit the banana bread for a fake there, and we bail straight to bar. I imagine this probably turns into some
Oh,
delegate and real. Oh, direct purloin while we are low lit. Oh, I
oh
like
my God,
this.
it's the same scenario as on Library. The sniper falls for the BB split, lowlights the spy, and then brings them back up. Now, because she took the list as a
We're
lowlight,
being
were you
eyed.
watching Toby? Do you know that the list is gone right now? Is that why you brought her back up to a highlight?
I think
Banana bread.
so. I don't love this banana bread because it points out the first one is a fake.
But Slappy's not shooting. Slappy's just taking lowlights. Does he know that the list is gone? Because if he knew that the list was gone, he probably would have felt like he had to take a shot, and yet he doesn't go for it.
I almost wonder if Slappy was a little too caught in his mission count without the microfilm in just saying you only have seduce contact in that purloin. I don't think you
Banana
have that
bread.
fourth mission yet. You're gonna go for some chaos bug or swap or whatever, and just because I feel like just based on when Bryce did like finish the microphone there, not a thought in Slappy's head about that being a mission at all. It looked like.
Exactly. And if you're not 100% sure who the spy is, it's a risk reward calculation. I can wait, and then maybe the spy will have to go do some bug in the last 20 seconds. Again, Bryce, not necessarily someone who's always finished missions early every game. So it's possible that Slappy was just really thrown off and was just hoping that the spy didn't finish rather than taking a shot on Alice, who he wasn't really sure about at all. He brought her back up to a highlight, but she was the one who took the list, right? Normally, the spy sends an innocent person to go take the list. It's not necessarily always the case that they take it themselves. So Slappy probably just wasn't really sure either way. But I don't know. I wonder if he didn't notice the list was gone because he was just taking lowlights, like usual. I think he might have felt more pressure. We might have seen him panic a little bit more if he knew that it was gone. But either way, Bryce gets that point, and now Bryce is in the lead. As a fun statistic, I believe only there was a prediction poll put out earlier this week, and only 18% of players believe that Bryce would take the win in this match. Bryce maybe proving them wrong. Slappy gonna spy again now on Modern as general in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Yeah, this did happen. This could be exactly what happened in their first match of, Bryce takes the first half of Modern and Slappy takes the second half. Either way, it's not what you want to see on your own double for your opponent to get the sweep. Even if you end up pulling it back, it's you want to kind of use those venues especially to take it the opportunity to get ahead. But, Slappy is falling behind here, if anything.
Yeah, and these were two really good games from Bryce. Just a commanding sniper shot before Slappy had even really finished more than 2.5 missions, and then a super clean spy game that seemed to have Slappy frazzled. And I'm worried about Slappy this game already because we still haven't started our flirt. We spent a lot of time at a window pad. Then again, that is what we saw last game as well, right? The twin just going off to that far window pad. And
Well,
then
who
finally
needs
we
to
got the
go to
flirt
your
done. And look,
seduction target
yeah,
when
he
they
comes
come to
right to
you?
us. Wow.
It's a very shameful seduction target with this spy choice, if you ask me. But we will accept it for the purpose of it is Smallman.
Yeah, Smallman definitely bailed us out there when it comes to our pacing. Having a green flirt done is nice because we don't have anything else. We did pick up the option to delegate a purloin, but it looks like we're really taking our time considering if we want to send that to anyone. I think we've checked our watch like twice in the
Oh,
last 20 seconds. Oh, hi, Smallman
this
again.
is. I don't know how much I like this one,
Oh,
if you ask me,
Bryce, though,
but
look at that. Bryce actually did a little zoom in there. I think Bryce might be on top of this. I mean, it was a pretty brazen movement, just sliding over at the window pad to be next to Smallman. Now, it's not necessarily that Bryce was doing hardcore flirt tracking, but Bryce was highlighting people at the bar. So he knows that General and Smallman were at the bar together, and now they're at the windows together. That's just very, very noticeable. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for Slappy to pull
yeah,
out a win
I
here.
think I think this is very much an extension of something that I always have as almost kind of a rule of thumb of you never you never delegate to your ST unless you finish a deuce. Because if you're playing against someone who will watch flirts, this is something I've shot for dozens of times of just someone sent their ST or their ST was an active suspect for purloin. So I had them highlight and I have you highlight. Oh, and suddenly I'm seeing these two characters who are specifically highlight are going together quite often. What's happening there? And I think, Bryce picking up on that, even as just maybe without a purloin happening, still two people at the bar going next to each other. And
Look, a
like I
safety
said,
off on us again. We're just walking. We're not even
yeah,
doing anything. We're just walking, and he wants us dead.
hey, that's
Yeah,
modern
it's
for
really
you. It's a
tragic.
pathing venue. But yeah, this is call me crazy. I don't think we will be winning this game as Slappy here.
Is the contact going to be enough to take the
The name of the
shot? Is
brand.
Bryce that bloodthirsty? Is it just going to be contact in the shot? Like, he hasn't done anything, right? General hasn't done anything. You've been watching him the whole time. Okay, so you
You
don't need
know,
to take the shot just yet.
I almost would have loved to see it just to push even more of that, testing the limits on how far can I push you back into your corner here.
It's so sad for
And it
Slappy because it's like, oh, the ST came to me. This is perfect. Nope. Turns out it's not perfect. It turns out you are suspect number one because the ST came to you. And Slappy just
yeah,
going to be idling out here. And I don't blame him. I think he knows that if he tried to do missions, it wouldn't work. Is he going to go for a time ad at the window here? It doesn't matter if he
probably.
does. This game is
Yeah.
over. You can just take the shot for that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I almost wonder if those flirts happened in the other way of we made that aggressive move at Windows before we got barlit. We maybe could have gotten away with it. But yeah, you can't make an aggressive flirt between two highlights like that, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about that one. Bryce takes his fourth point and goes on to another spy game. Bryce is going to be playing as Smallman now. Let's get started with that in three, two, one, playing it.
yeah. So again, I mean, this is, best of 18, first to 10. So we've got at least half of a regular season set, waiting for us here. But you do start to wonder here, at what point does this kind of start to get a little too dicey for Slappy here? And well, with that start, I mean, Bryce is really gunning to make it 5-1 here with that just immediate just cheese animation microfilm here as Smallman.
Yeah, there was a lot of action happening elsewhere at the party, so I don't think the sniper was looking for the microfilm. So it's another good start. It's another good start for Bryce, honestly. We're in a
Bring in
conversation
the
with the
red.
double agent. We're actually just going to go for the contact. Lot of decent number of lowlights available at the bar, at statues. Salmon walking away from the window pad over there on the right, but Slappy's not entirely certain. Could have been a weird BB split. So Salmon is going to stay neutral lit, highlighting the people who are going to statues in the aftermath of that contact.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it always is a little bit like, uh, it throws you off a little bit. I feel like sometimes when you get a BB that's that early like that, typically you want to let low lights come off as late as possible when you're spying. But, I feel like at the same time, it can be hard to find all of those low lights if you're not in that mindset of, all right, a BB is going to come off at some point here. We're still in chaos mode. And oh boy. Oh, a little too far over to the side. And Slappy is not going to take that cheese.
Darn, that's tragic. That would have been very, very cool if it worked. And I understand the blue bookshelf is much more central in the venue. It's much more visible. You don't want to do the microfilm right at it. And you are playing small men. So if the sniper actually had their laser on a more diagonal angle, which is where the sniper has it a lot of the time on Modern, you could have gotten away with that, but unfortunately it's just right on screen. It's very awkwardly visible.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, you know, you can't get a trick like this past someone who's been around for so long. I mean, I'm pretty sure I think it was actually T Flame was in like there was a Summer Cup best plays or something like that video I saw once that it was literally just Smallman doing this twice and just getting away with it so clean. And it was so stupid but so like genius at the time. But I feel like that is such a notable play like on Modern that it's just like when you have a player like Slappy, you're gonna be eyeing that, with that kind of history.
Yeah, you would need the ambassador to be in a much more precarious position. You need to be really certain that the sniper is going to have that more diagonal laser. So it wasn't the greatest timing for it. But Bryce still comes out of Modern up 4-2. So it's not necessarily a bad result. You still have the lead, so you don't feel too bad about it. And you're letting Slappy know that, you can make bold plays like that. So he's got to be on the lookout for anything at any time. So Slappy's still on the back foot here a little bit, playing as Kane as we go into Veranda in three, two, one, playing it.
Something I also thought when we were kind of talking about the draft here, oh, that's a chaos bug that's not going to take. Neither is that one. Not seen by the sniper, but regardless, um, what I was saying there was that with the draft there of Bryce picking 2 out of 3 of his venues being these 5 of 8s. You mentioned that sort of history of Slappydavis being a slower spy. I almost wonder if it kind of speaks to how aggressive Bryce wants to try to be for this set, to really push back and, see kind of what you could pull off, or maybe even we're just trying to play and keep even and, think I'll beat you out on your own venues.
Yeah, and by picking these 5 of 8 venues, right, you're forcing Slappy to do some sort of blatant hardtail at some point. Because Slappy would very much like to play a softtail game and just slowly gather fingerprints and stuff like that. But on a 5 of 8, he's got to do something else. Often it's going to be microfilm. These bigger venues are the easiest ones to get away with a microfilm on. But it's very likely that at some point he's going to have to go for a purloin, a bug, or a swap. And that's something that you can just catch. You can just force him to do that and catch him.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, case in point there, this game could have ended very quickly with those chaos bug attempts. Uh, if we just had a slightly bad angle there for Slappy, that's a very clear waving arm. But
Look at
we
Slappy just
will
like inching
live
closely.
to shuffle over in conversation because that first green flirt was not quite enough for a 2,
Exactly. We're at
but it was.
49%. We don't want to risk being at 98.
Yes, of course not. Not enough to disappoint Tobo, but still very disappointing regardless. We are going to get that 2 flirt off. And we do have the DA join us here. We could go for our second soft tail here.
Yeah, I mean, you see two pretty full conversations here. There are a few lowlights available, but Slappy actually doesn't want it. I'm a little bit surprised by that because I don't know if you're going to get a better opportunity to contact. You've only got 2 minutes left. You've got to find some other mission progress and then slot back in. We don't really want to return to the conversation we were in just because then it kind of looks like you're returning for a flirt. Your ST is still right there. So if there's any chance you were paired with her, you just don't want to go back there. So we still couldn't get the contact. And we are going back to the bookcase. The bookcase super comfortable for both of these players.
Yes, failing a fingerprint. I don't know about you, but for a second there, it almost felt like we were kind of chasing the Emba down to see if we could pull something off here. It looks like we're going to walk away from that, probably not going to get off that bug going against Taft because he's so fast. But, it's this game is really getting into dire straits again. We were just Slappy's not quite
Yeah,
keeping
but look
up.
at
We're going
this.
to
The
need.
laser is completely on the other side of the venue. And so Slappy thought that it might be a good time to rip the book out of red and put it into green. Then it looked like he was second guessing himself for a moment, but the laser is just so focused on the other side of the venue, literally turning all the way over to look for swaps on the statues. And so Slappy does actually get a microfilm done, and it's not a slow and steady one this time. It is a quick rip into another bookcase.
No, I don't think that was hesitation. I think that was just pathing, probably. These players
And
do that,
red.
right?
And they
Oh, they
also love
also do
doing
that.
banana
They
splits.
also do that. That is an option. That is our third BB split so far out of what is that, 7 games?
Yeah, and we have 20 seconds left now, though, so we didn't pick up a low light for it. We're picking up a highlight for inspecting statues. If you don't swap the statue, how are you going to finish? I was thinking you have to hope for a green swap. You're going to have to
Yeah,
try to bug
this
the ambassador again, but you walk right past him. 9 seconds left. That is not enough time to do another inspect and a swap. Barely, maybe, but I think the clock just runs out before we can even do
yeah, white
anything.
inspect is not going to do it. That's unfortunate for Slappy, but really just killed too much time idling for that first half there and just I think even if somehow, some way we got that off in time, I would have liked to see, an attempt at a green swap on the first set of inspects more than anything, just to kind of have that distraction of while I'm finishing here and time's running out, someone else is swapping a statue out for me rather than trying to do it here. But
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're
just
gonna have
yeah,
to finish with a swap anyway, I think you should at least try for the green. And then like maybe for your second set, maybe you walk to the statues in the carpeted room over here because maybe it's closer. I mean, 2 seconds could have made the difference. I don't know if it would have worked out anyway, but it's possible that Bryce just might have had other suspects or might have panicked. But unfortunately, it's a timeout for Slappy. Bryce, we keep saying this, takes the first point on this venue. Bryce moves on to his spy game now, playing as Ponytail, starting right next to the ambassador in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Oh, the AI control
we
just
are not
locks
going to
us
take
away.
advantage of that. Yeah, checker faced us away, and we just kind of didn't react quick enough to go for a turnaround there. Maybe we didn't want to go for it anyway, so
Oh, look, it's a
it
book
is what it
rip.
is. Oh, look. Uh, can someone get a counter going for both BB splits and book rips, please? As well as games featuring both. I'd love to see the statistics after.
Yeah, that's why this is it's such a perfect matchup. They're like perfectly suited for each other. They're just doing the same strategies every game. The BB split, notably the last one that we saw last game, that was I think the first one that didn't result in a low light brought back up to a neutral or highlight. So they're catching on. They're catching on to each other's tricks, surely.
Yeah. And we're definitely kind of cooking this boo little bit of a mispat, at least in a pretty well occluded spot. But we are very inside of Irish right now in a way that does not look too great. Probably isn't going to be paid too much attention to by Slappy, but it is kind of one of those things that just like you see it and you're just like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think we're being majorly focused on, right? The missed pads, they look so awkward when you see them on stream from the spy POV, but it's not really something that every sniper is going to notice. We're going for a fake contact
Banana
here.
bread.
The middle of the venue is looking really sparse. Oh, and we actually wait, did we cough and walk away as well?
What is happening?
Yeah, I don't. Did the banana bread even actually go off? No, it did. I think we started saying the words and then we coughed. So I guess Bryce was just trying for another BB split, trying to walk away and get to like another mission site to get a low light, but it didn't work.
Yeah,
But you know what?
I was gonna say
Coughs
the
are spy
thing
sided,
is,
right?
yeah, they honestly they can be really disorienting, and I mean, I don't know if you kind of noticed there, but we actually did get highlight for that. You know who did get highlight? Teal, who is notably, I feel like if there's anyone that I think of as like gets away with a cough, my eyes go. I mean, they go to like Smallman and like Wheels and like the shorter characters, obviously, but I feel like they kind of drift to Teal like automatically because Teal being one of those characters who doesn't have uh, that coughing animation fully developed yet of just kind of the arm swing. You don't always see it and just kind of sometimes think it's just the talking animation.
Um, was that another cough? Did
Uh,
did
maybe,
we just
maybe. What about it,
did we just
Dels?
cough again? Why?
Bryce is sick. Let
Okay,
him
well,
be.
this
He's
time it was
sick.
just a red action test, but I'm just like,
Yes.
I wasn't sure. I doubted my eyes. I was like, do I have an echo from the previous one? Is this something on my end? Why am I hearing coughs all the time? No, the spy's just coughing. And oh, that's another slight
And
missed
we're
pad,
shuffling
but
a little bit more here.
oh
Oh, I don't know if that was
God.
an inspect or mispad highlight. I'm gonna guess inspect probably, but still.
Look, snipers get
I'm
really
being made
tilted by
very
coughs.
nervous of it.
The sniper's just thinking, how have I missed 2 coughs at this point? And the cough, the
Right.
first one, it let us get away with slamming the book in. We have the microfilm done. We got 3 missions done. We just need to go for another set of inspects. Unfortunately, we are a highlight and like half the party is low lit. So even if we're not necessarily a major suspect, it's just going to be hard to get 2 more missions done. But I don't know. Bryce has gotten away with a lot this game already. I'd love to see him pull out the win.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost expecting an accidental clank at this point. This game just feels like completely accidental BM at this point. Oh,
But look,
we
Seek
are
is giving us
absolutely going
cover. No.
sneaky swap behind C. We hit the green swap, but I think this is going to be watched a little bit too much. What I'd really love to see is if I would have liked to see if we could have stalled that out and then hit an overtime bug or something to really throw the sniper for a loop there.
Are we
But
going to be
this is going to
dancing?
go
We're like hiding on the other side of
right
the
overtime.
venue.
We're going
Look
to
at the
rotate.
laser slowly moving over. It's like, please get there.
Yeah.
Please get there in time to take the shot.
Yeah, that rotate on veranda, it can be a terrifying thing to go all the way from one side of the venue to the other. But
And the end
Bryce
of
really
red.
trying to push the limit there, and just realistically, it was a smart move there. If there's even the slightest bit of hesitation, what was that shot at 3 seconds? Yeah.
And the end
So
of
another
red.
point. Hard to
Yeah,
say,
you
but
had to
yeah, I was
like,
gonna say,
you did have to rotate that laser over and be ready to take the shot ASAP. I mean, hey, it's a good move. You go hide on the other side of the venue. You pick up some other statues. I don't know why, so you can do a BM clank if you somehow win.
yeah,
No, Bryce was just hiding, I think. Well, it was a fun game. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep up that level of chaos and get a spy win. But Bryce still has the lead 5-3 going into Redwoods, which was Slappy's pick. We're going to be seeing 2 games here on Redwoods. Slappy is queen in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
now we're gonna see if Bryce will pull yet another sweep on Slappy's venue here. But I mean, even if not, like Bryce's sniper is really just staying locked in here, and just that's all you really need at this point. You've gotten your spy win, and now it's if Bryce has a perfect sniper and just shoots Slappy every single time here, this match is only a matter of time.
Yep, and we get a briefcase here. I was going to say, oh, it's kind of covered up by trees, but that's sort of a redundant statement. Everything is covered by the trees in this venue. It wasn't focused on very much, but we did make the long journey to return it to the ambassador. So we'll see if Bryce is on top of this print.
Yeah, definitely. Giving respect to your sniper there. I I kind of feel like that's not the way to go sometimes, especially with Redwoods. It was out in the open, and it was early on enough that you're probably observing like where Emma's going specifically there. That it probably gets punished if you maybe immediately put it down, but that felt like a little bit too, you know, in the front there for me to sort of love for that attention. But we're not
Right. And
highlights, so it's fine
yeah, if
probably.
if the sniper is like looking at Queen now, she's not doing much. She entered a conversation, not really standing very close to anyone. I think Slappy just wanted that early fingerprint. I mean, he just timed out in his previous game. He wants mission progress.
And the end of
We're
red.
going for a banana bread here. It is a fake, and we're actually the only conversation that doesn't have an SDA in with us. So potentially gets rid of suspicion on us again if Bryce, notices, oh, Queen is one of the people who does not have real BB. He's probably focusing on a lot of other people right now. I mean, half of this party is highlit. Actually, more, I think more than half of them are highlit, and we're not one of them. So it's not a bad position to be in. But while we've been doing all this, the clock has been ticking. There is only a little over a minute left as we get this second fingerprint, but almost no flirt progress.
Yeah, I mean this. I don't want to say tale as old as time, but oh, I'm not sure who that take off was on. I'm guessing sorry, but that could potentially be a bit of a game-saving matter for us because This
And in the
feels
red.
like a game that has already happened at least a few times this set of just Slappy goes for that first, briefcase really early and then just sits. Gets that
Yeah,
second
and
print eventually, but we've run down the clock and it's just like you're going, what are our other missions?
right,
We
we
still
took
need to get
another
a flirt.
banana bread. It let off like a bunch of lowlights at the bar. I think Slappy has just realized that he's not going to finish missions, so he tried to potentially frame someone, tried to induce a shot with another BB. We're trying to go finish the flirt now. We have to do it and then bail to a window pad for a time ad. Otherwise, there's no point. Now, it is Redwoods. The sniper
Yep.
might be panicking at this point. They might not notice you do a time ad. We are actually surprisingly not very much behind a tree. It's actually quite visible, unfortunately for Slappy.
I was gonna say that like center of the deck is like probably the most visible spot on there, unfortunately. That's yeah. Yeah, I do feel like not much to say there, it really was the clock was Slappy's enemy.
Yeah, and Redwoods, I mean, it's a spy paradise, right? The sniper can't see anything of any venue. It's one of the ones where you can get away with going around and doing things as the spy. So it's unfortunate that we just weren't able to make anything happen. We kept getting that fingerprint progress, and then it looks like we realized there wasn't enough time. And at that point, I don't know what the plan was, a second BB, and then we had to do a time ad. It all just fell apart, unfortunately. So Bryce gets another point. Going to be spying now, playing as Smallman yet again in 3, 2,
Oh no.
1. Playing it. This is
I
where you
do
can get
think
away with Smallman picks.
yes, this is where you can get away with too much to be fair, frankly. If your sniper doesn't realize that Smallman's here, like it can just be disgusting. Oh, and we already time added. Oh, this is going to be a game to break Slappy's brain. I can already tell. At least that's going to be Bryce's goal.
Yeah,
Um,
I think a timeout is a pretty good idea here. I mean, it's Redwoods. There's so much happening. The sniper has a million things to track and they can't see anything. A time ad at the start of the game is probably one of the last things on their mind. And also, both spies have been having trouble getting all their missions done on time. So I think a time ad is a great idea, honestly.
yeah, that's very fair. And I will say, speaking of that, I do almost wonder if Slappy could have yielded a little bit more out of this venue pick here if he had opted for it earlier on in the set, like with the first or second pick. Um, just given that, or with it being the first pick rather, just given that I feel like since Bryce has been so on top of the sniper, I really do think that Slappy is being pushed back into his box here, and it's really harming him on maps like these where it calls for aggressive play, in order to get
Yeah,
that spy win.
Yeah, and remember, after this, we have doubled Courtyard, which was Bryce's choice. Courtyard is pretty sniper favored. It's entirely possible that Bryce can just go even there and pick up 2 more points, which means that if Bryce gets this win, then Courtyard could take Bryce to match points. Maybe getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I feel like Slappy really needed that spy win, knowing that Courtyard is coming next.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. I mean, Courtyard, it's like that almost feels like the antithesis to these player styles of, you're playing to not be seen as much as possible on a venue where frankly the sniper sees everything. There's a small corner of the venue at a given time where, it's occluded by the statue, but a very short rotate, and suddenly, that purling you're trying to do is right in the middle of their view.
Yeah, Courtyard just makes for sort of a nice,
And in the
safe
red.
pick, though, if you want to trade sniper wins. Bryce taking the contact, and oh god, Slappy was... Oh no, Slappy had another suspect. I mean, I don't blame you. It's Redwoods. Should we take a look at what Pearls was
Yeah, I was
doing
gonna
to
say
earn that bullet?
see here. Pearls.
I mean, it looks like Pearls just kind of picks up her highlights for going over
Uh,
to some statues.
maybe got credited with some kind of bug attempt shenanigans going into the statue. Doubtful on that, though.
Well, she was standing near the ambassador for quite a while. You could suspect her of doing a bug there. She bumps into the ambassador a lot near the bar at around the 2-minute 20 mark. I can see that
Oh,
looking really bad from the sniper point
I
of
was gonna say,
view, but
yeah, Pearls did also sit in that front convo, for a solid second in like that golden bug range where, if it's gonna be blocked by the trees, it's a little bit too easy to just kind of say, well, you probably bugged.
right, she was
Especially,
making
with
progress on a lot of missions. She went to the bar right after the Amba was there. She got a fingerprint. She picked up the briefcase. She might have had the difficult fingerprint from that as well. It's so funny. This is like our first, I think it might be our first Civ shot of the set. It's always a little bit jarring. It's like, wait, while we were watching The Spy, there was this whole other storyline playing out that we had no idea about. But in retrospect, Slappy's shot was pretty justified, I would say. Probably felt like he was really on top of things there, and unfortunately, that was not the Spy. And here we have it. Bryce actually swept Redwoods going into Courtyard now. Bryce, this is a best of 18, so Bryce needs 3 more points to win. If he can get a Spy win here and pick up the 2 sniper wins, this could be the last venue of the set. Slappy's going to be spying first, playing as Orange Sorry in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Well, speaking of characters who I feel like can definitely just hide away and be as subtle as possible, Sorry is kind of what you're looking for, I'd say. And we do get a cheese flirt off there for 30%.
She
Not
is pretty
too
slow.
incredible, but she is pretty slow. But I will say something that is very nice for Sorry here is standing bugs. Courtyard is one of those venues where more often than not, a standing bug will be what you kind of get put into. Sometimes you'll get a walking bug where you're squeezing by but statues, or like between him and this monument of sorts of Alan Turing. But I think standing bugs kind of tend to pay off a little bit better here. And I mean, Sorry just one of those. I can't remember if it's the right or the left on. It's almost invisible.
Yeah, and I think that really fits with Slappy's playstyle here. If we were a faster character, maybe we would try to like rush into the statues when the sniper's on the other side of the screen and do some sort of cheesy swap play, but that's not really Slappy's style, so I think just standing around waiting for the ambassador to give us a good bug opportunity really fits the game plan here.
In the end of
We're
red.
taking this contact. It is a fake for us, but it's a real for a lot of other people. Doesn't let off too many lowlights, and we're going for a bug, walking by the ambassador right after that. I think the sniper was still just dealing with trying to figure out the aftermath of that banana bread. Doesn't seem to suspect us, doesn't notice it at all. I think we got away with a bug.
In the end of red.
Yeah, I was gonna say that hand was a little visible, but I mean, just if you're not paying attention to it because you're more focused on getting all those lowlights from that BB, you're not going to be watching it. And suddenly, this is looking like a very good opportunity for Slappy to just go in, get some inspects, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. And yeah, we're just getting highlight here. If we're not being shot for this immediately, finds the
Wow.
shot though.
I
Just
think
not
Bryce,
trusting that Sorry is. Yeah.
yeah, was Bryce on top of that bug? We did also do like another contact and we split from it. If anything, with these 2 players, I feel like the split was more noticed than the bug because Slappy has
I
been
was
just
gonna say,
splitting so much.
oh dear. Yeah,
You know,
you're right. I mean, regardless, though,
In the end of red.
whether it was for a BB split, a bug, or simply the green arrow and the name over our head, Bryce found the right shot, and that is going to, I mean, in what were already duck race, put Slappy just on death's door.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm surprised by the shot, I'm sure Slappy is surprised by it as well. Slappy was probably thinking, look, I got away with a bug. Are you really going to shoot me? There's like a minute 20 left on the clock. You know I don't finish this early. You can highlight me for inspects, but you're not going to shoot me for it, right? Obviously, I'm going to run out of time and do something in the last 10 seconds. But no, Bryce was completely on top of it. Bryce has just had a scary sniper the whole set and keeping it up here. Bryce now going to be spying, playing as Buns in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I would say, like, if Bryce can pull it off here, it's I don't want to say it's over, but it is
Banana bread.
feeling like it, given how solid Bryce's sniper has been, not dropping a single game.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And Bryce, this game actually making really good progress early. We already have the contact done. We're already in combo here next to our ST. Even though there's a person between us, it looks like we were still able to get the 34%. And we're actually going for a purloin. It is a green. Thank God it's not a white. Look, if it was a white, you know there would have been a shot immediately. But we greened it. Toby goes over to
I
red
mean,
dress next. She also declines. And now Toby is off in an entirely different conversation. Unfortunately, an SDA is the one taking it. So if Slappy notices the list is gone, he knows that it was a green purloin. I think he knows who the two most recent people were. Oh, Slappy was completely on top of that. I don't know
oh
if Bryce can
boy,
get the spy
yeah,
win now.
I don't think so. I would have really liked if we had our flirt a little bit closer to finish there, and that we could have just maybe gone to inspects while that was going, and then just finished with flirt. We get brought back down. Maybe not as on top of it as we were thinking. I mean, we'll see whether Bryce gets shot here or not, but
That's very strange.
I
I mean, I think it's possible
do.
that Slappy remembers who the two suspects were, so doesn't feel the need to keep them highlit. Maybe he just wants to use his highlights for other things because he definitely remembers that Buns and Red Dress were the purloin suspects, but just in case he's wrong, he'll use his highlights for something else. It's just very hard for me to
Yeah,
believe that we've lost our suspicion.
I'd agree with that. I'd say that's fair. I don't think we can go into inspects here. I think that's pretty clear. Oh boy,
We
the
can't bug the
opportunity
Amba though,
presents
can
Banana
we?
bread.
itself.
A
We
fake
can't.
BB,
This
that's
is
not gonna
locked too
work.
heavily.
Not gonna work.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Oh, but not shot for it
Didn't
either.
get caught, but also didn't take. So
I mean, look at Slappy's
breaks out
laser from
neutral.
that BB. It's like Slappy didn't even bother looking around the venue, getting lowlights or whatever. He was just ready for something to happen there. And
Yeah.
even though
I
Bryce
mean,
did the bug, I'm not sure. Did Slappy see it? Maybe he just knew that it couldn't have taken, so he's waiting anyway, just being patient.
that's an insane call for patience if you see a bug animation and are that confident it didn't take. That's almost cruel. I'm going to guess that it just wasn't seen because actually we got surprisingly decent cover between that briefcase return there. But we're going into inspects. I don't love this, but we also don't have any other options besides that or bug, and I think bug just doesn't pay off either. And yeah, Slappy's going to shoot us here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the shot coming. Unfortunately, Bryce wasn't able to get anything else done, so just had to go for the statues. But surely Bryce was suspect number one anyway, or at least number one and two. It could have also been Red Dress. And Red Dress was setting herself up to maybe go for a bug on an Amba there at the end. She was near the Amba at least, so it's possible that Slappy was at least sort of still thinking like, well, she's the other suspect. Should I keep watching her for a bug, or do I just take the shot? And I think when one of your suspects is going to statues, in the last 20 seconds, you kind of do have to assume that is probably just the spy. That is definitely your best shot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's at some point, you can't risk letting, a spy get away like that, especially when you're in that point in the game of just like, it's just like if you let that game slip because you're just not totally confident, suddenly you're down and out almost.
Yep. So Slappy going to be spying again now, playing as Wheels in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And so Bryce been on top of the sniper games all set. As we said, Courtyard, very sniper favored venue. Bryce could easily pick up his 9th point here, and then he would be on match point for the entire rest of the set. Just another slow start for
and
Slappy here. We're just walking up to our ST. I say walking, I mean not walking technically. The flirt is at 85% now. Thanks, Toby, for offering a drink. We're definitely not going to do a purloin here. I think we might just be planning on waiting out the flirt timer anyway, so we figure why not just take a drink. It'll be gone by the time we want to go do anything else.
yeah, I'm gonna say like arguably, I would say on average this is a slow start, but I do feel like we got to that flirt pretty quickly for Snappy, and I honestly feel like flirt can kind of be the secret Achilles heel to players like myself and these two that kind of try and stay a little bit more in the shadows. Where if you don't get it done in like 2 or 3 flirts, it can be very easy to just think, oh well, I'll just wait this one out and just stay cool under the radar. And suddenly you've done that 2 or 3 times, and you have a minute left on the clock because you spent 2.5 of it waiting for flirts.
Yeah, so we only need 15% more on our flirt, so we can just enter this conversation completely opposite from our ST. I mean, it's a good way to lower suspicion on yourself if the sniper notices that you're just off in some convo, not near anyone, not near an SDA. It slightly lowers the chance that you're the spy. But classic story, about 90 seconds left. The only mission progress is the flirt. Now on Courtyard, you probably want to do your inspect at some point, so that's easy to do. You can go do it at any time, but you need your contact. We actually sort of predicted that Sick was going to land in this conversation. We take the contact, of course, we split out of it. We're actually completely off screen, so there's a chance we get low lit for being at the statues, but Bryce isn't even really moving the camera all the way over to even really register Wheels or think very much about him at all. And yeah, we actually do pick up a highlight for that. I mean, no one's falling for these BB splits anymore, but at least Slappy does have the contact. Not too many people who had real. We were like one of only 1 or 2 people in our conversation, but Bryce wasn't really looking at it. So I don't know. We might not be a huge suspect. It's just that, we could have done the BB. We have the inspects, but we need one more mission.
Yeah, I mean, at what point can you even call that fully a PB split anymore in the sniper's eyes? We were off screen, or behind the statue rather, for so long after that BB that realistically you can't credit anyone
We're
out
going
there
for
from
a
there.
swap. We're going for a swap. Completely off screen.
It is
I think
completely
Bryce's
off
sniper is about
screen,
to actually
not
lose a
being
game.
touched,
Bryce was just watching the
and we danced
ambassador
around a
so
bit.
closely and just didn't rotate over there.
Wow.
And that's one of the boldest
And
plays that we've seen
suddenly,
from Slappy all set. I mean, technically, a lot of these games have ended with the spy trying to go do some really quick hardtail at the end, but this one was just super, super smooth. And maybe that's it. Maybe Bryce was expecting that the spy is probably going to try to do a purloin or bug the ambassador in the last 10 seconds. But wow, you made the classic Courtyard mistake. You left your camera in one spot for too long, and the spy can sneak in and do a swap like that.
yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like this was a very important game for Slappy to win, not just because it would have put Bryce on match point, but to win in a fashion like this, suddenly the only game that has broke through your opponent's sniper has been with a bold play
Banana
like
bread.
this. So suddenly you finally won a spy game. Your opponent's sniper is broken. You're playing a bold game, and suddenly the box is open again. Slappy might be coming back out, and this may embolden him to go for some really ambitious plays now.
Yeah, Slappy is the one who is in the need to make a comeback here. He was the favorite going into the match, but things are going completely differently than when these players played each other 8 weeks ago. I mean, 8 weeks, it's a lot of time. All right, Bryce going to be spying now, playing as Pearls in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And we're playing as another very, very slow character, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think Courtyard is definitely out of all of the venues. Um, you know, this is one of the ones you can definitely get away with a slow character. It's no balcony, but it's also far from being library or gallery, where you're going to get punished for that more often than not.
Yeah, it's a very short walk to the statues. It's a very short walk to calling Toby over for a purloin. You don't really have to do a lot of traveling on this one. We are traveling a lot with this briefcase. I mean, stop me if you've seen this before, but these players love to start by picking up the first briefcase. They love to start by ripping a book, but there's no bookcase on this venue, so it's going to have to be the first briefcase. And we're making mission progress. You cannot say that we're not making mission progress. We got a fingerprint, we've got the inspects done, we've already got our first flirt. Just get all of these done as soon as possible. Set yourself up to maybe get some sort of hidden bug without needing to worry about finishing your flirt.
Given that there's no bookcase here, given that we've gotten the first briefcase, I think I'm gonna be disappointed if we don't BB split. Probably, you know,
We
really.
might BB split, but we won't pick up a low light for it. I'm sure of that if we do one.
Come on, Dallas. Come on, trust me, trust me. What's a good old joke that isn't following the rule of
Banana bread.
sevens, 12s, however many? A lot.
I'm not sure what that rule is, but I believe you that it relates to banana splits in some way. So we took a contact, and it wasn't real for too many people. Decent amount of lowlights let off. We're just gonna go continue our flirt now. I mean, we can just play a soft tell game. We can just do that. We can just finish the flirt and get another fingerprint and hope that the sniper doesn't shoot us. It's sort of a passive play style. It's sort of a play style where it's not really in your hands whether you win or not. You're just hoping that the sniper has some other suspect or maybe missed something. But I think from a sniper like Slappy, I wouldn't expect him to be missing these things. I think he knows that Pearls did that first briefcase. I think he knows that she has inspects. And if she goes for another fingerprint, I don't think it'll be a hard shot for him to take. Actually, that's the exact shot he took on Pearls on Redwoods. It was because she had the fingerprint. She had the soft tell progress. That's the exact type of person that Slappy wants to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There is no spy easier to spot than your own, frankly. So it's kind of interesting when you have two players that are so similar. And I think it's been easier for Bryce, and I feel like that's why Bryce has been
Oh,
succeeding
God.
more often on the sniper.
We
Oh
have to just
boy.
do a purloin. We just have to do a purloin, and of course it's white, and of course we're gonna get shot for it. Yeah, it's the person running around the pillar.
I
And
was
by
gonna say,
running, I mean slowly meandering. Maybe if we were Alice, we could have raced around the pillar quicker than the sniper laser. No, I don't think even then.
ladies and gentlemen, the purloin does match the dress.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Bryce here.
A green purloin, actually could have maybe worked. It doesn't look like, Slappy was super focused on what was happening over there, but white purloins, they just get you shot. They just get you shot. There's nothing else to say about that. Unfortunately, courtyard, sometimes you have the opportunity to make some sort of really cool, bold play, and sometimes you just take it slowly. Nothing really presents itself. I mean, that's why we call it a sniper favored venue. And so, unfortunately for Bryce, he could have come out of this venue being on match point with a commanding lead. But Slappy getting a spy win on Courtyard very impressively has brought the scoreline back. We've got two venues left. They're both singles. So we're going to be seeing two games of pub, 2 games of gallery. Let's get it started with Slappy playing as Rocker in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to this at this point, you know. It's really we are back into the realm of the anything can really happen. I mean, anything can happen at any point with this game, but really Flappy is, I would say, being down only 2 points now has come back in striking distance for sure. It'll be a tough
Exactly.
call to win 4 games in a row, but even 3 out of 4 gets you into overtime.
Yeah, and this is not really a sniper favored venue, as much as Courtyard, certainly, as much as many others. The spy only has to do 3 missions here. It's a pretty crowded party. There's a lot for the sniper to keep track of. And the sniper just has to really be on top of flirt pairing on any 3 of 7, because any guest who goes and does inspects and is in for BB could be done, and you have to know if they finish their flirt or not. So it's pretty demanding on the sniper.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, given this is Slappy's pick, you know, it does make you
Banana
wonder
bread.
what plan we've got going on here. And what plan would it be other than, you know, the same old bread and butter here, or, you know, banana bread and butter rather.
Yeah, and we just picked up
Uh
a highlight for it, though I think the highlights are just for anyone who has a real BB. But if you're taking highlights for real BB and you have explicitly taken one on Rocker, who is now nowhere near the conversations she started in, I'm sure you're noticing, yeah, that could have been a split. And, my opponent does kind of like to split. So,
does he? I didn't notice. Thanks for telling me, Giles.
oh, and look, we're having
Um
the same highlight situation. You were highlighted for real BB for being in this conversation, and so was Irish. And now you've returned to that same conversation next to her, all these highlights next to each other. I think for sure Bryce probably knows that Rocker and Irish are a potential flirt pair. Slappy does have time to get another mission done. We got like 45 seconds. I don't know if we're going to do it, though. We're doing a
Banana
fake
bread.
BB.
and we're unfortunately in with a SDA for this BB2, so it looks even worse. We're just gonna go for this really aggressive bug. It's not gonna pay off. And Slappy now must win every single game going forward. Mind you, that's only 3, but it is still a very
Banana
scary
bread.
situation to be put in.
Yep, great shot from Bryce. I mean, obviously the bug was very visible, but
Banana
I
bread.
think Rocker was probably just a suspect anyway. Bryce just had a total control over that party, so it was going to be easy to catch anything that Slappy did at that point. All right, one more win from Bryce, and he will take the set as the lower seed. May I remind you, Bryce was bronze 4, Slappy is the bronze 2 seed, and Bryce originally would not have even made it into the championship if the bronze 3 seed didn't drop. So just a fantastic. That's not.
I was gonna
I'm
say
so
no.
sorry. I'm so
The action would
sorry.
have
I thought
played
that was the
hyper.
situation.
No, the top 4 of bronze, it's the same situation as platinum where the top 2 get, you know, first gets first pick out of third and fourth, and second gets the remainder. Um, However, because of the forfeit, Hyper just got the pass instead.
Ah, I see. Right. Yes, bronze 3 definitely did drop out and it didn't enter the championship. So I'm sorry, I got confused. Either way, Bryce did just barely make it into this as the lowest seed in the championship. So, and he's potentially now going to move on to the next round if he can get one more win. So let's take a look at it. Bryce as Duke in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everyone loves an underdog. You gotta love it here. And, you know, oh,
Well, all
action
that set
trial?
up for Bryce to potentially take the win, and then he just goes and does
Um,
that.
you know, maybe Bryce just trusts snipers so much. And to be honest, having only lost one of those sniper games so far, I wouldn't blame him. Trust so much in that sniper that he said, I don't need this spy game. Probably not. But well, I'll go with it.
I mean, I think it makes sense. If you start that close to the statue, you might be able to get away with that sometimes. The sniper is just going to be watching the ambassador, not really checking for a swap, not memorizing the statues so early. But there are only two of them, so it's not that hard. It's not that hard to memorize them. All
Yeah.
right. Well, Slappy in striking distance again, only behind by 2 points. Gallery, definitely another venue where anything can happen. There's a lot of things that a spy can get away with hidden at the back of the venue there. Let's get started with it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I feel like it would be truly sacrilege if we went on without appreciating all the art around us. Anyway, so I think it's for the best that we got to see this venue.
I think it's also for the best that we got that first flirt. She barely was going to walk away from us there, and we got it just in time. We're going to go to the statue pad here. Are we able to flirt with her again, though? I don't think the flirt countdown has gone
Don't.
down enough. No, it did.
Oh
She
wow,
walked
just
away from
barely.
us and let that counter go down. I think that must have been really close. But I understand why Slappy wants to do this. Gallery is such an easy venue to time out on. If your seduction target or the double agent is in the conversation outside and you're all the way inside, it can take ages to walk over there and the clock just runs out. Slappy didn't want to risk that happening, just trying to get the flirt progress ASAP.
Yeah, and I mean, and even like in more extreme scenarios, there are games where you're on gallery and your double agent or your seduction target just does not land for over 2 minutes, and it's a miserable experience. To really just lose like that on something that I'd argue you just can't control really. But we're gonna idle a little bit. We're gonna hopefully finish up this flirt, but Boots is walking away from us, and we
Oh, but
also
it's
don't go
okay.
for
We
the
can
speed
catch up to
in
her.
time.
Oh, God, she's turning around. Oh, and we have to go to the window. Some snipers would shoot you for that, for walking into near a conversation and then just diverting to a window when you realize you
Oh,
can't fit.
and then re-diverting back into that conversation into a really tight squeeze. Yeah, if you watch that interaction happen, I feel like I just immediately, from an etiquette and just behavioral like standpoint, you shoot to the top of my list with that.
Definitely. I think it's the case that if Bryce was noticing that, Kane is going to be the top suspect and has no chance of picking up a win. But, the Amba was at the back. It's possible the sniper was just watching. We're actually just going to swap the statue here. It's actually
Oh
just a
boy.
white swap, which means that we're potentially framing someone. Because we are nowhere near done with missions. We're going to have to go. Oh, God, can we just bug the ambassador? You have to just bug the
Oh,
ambassador right here. But that arm is
you
so
have to.
visible. It didn't take.
That's not gonna live.
The sniper obviously has registered the swap, is basically low-lighting the
Oh,
entire party, other than the last two
yeah.
people who went to that statue. The fact that we didn't get shot for that bug, though, makes me wonder, like, could we have just won if that bug
Oh
worked? Because
no.
I think if you see that, you have to shoot.
Banana bread.
You have to shoot anyway,
This
apparently, as soon
this
as the
just
spy enters combo.
I mean,
Yeah.
just you're standing right next to your frame, you join them and then UBB, it just will not look good from that sniper point of view. And that is unfortunately for Slappydavis the end of his run in this SCL regular championship. Congratulations, though, are in order for our underdog Bryce.
Yep, those were some commanding sniper games. It was like, unfortunately, Bryce did lose the one sniper game on Courtyard, but every other sniper game, he just seemed completely on top of the party, completely in control of everything. And whether Slappy did try to go for a hardtail or if Slappy just played the slow games, Bryce was just not caught off guard by any of it. Certainly not caught off guard by the banana splits.
Yeah, I mean, were any of us caught off guard by the banana splits by the end of that set? That remains to be seen. However, I'm going to guess the answer is no. We saw a lot of those in this set, but it made it all the more uh, enjoyable, we'll say.
Yeah, Slappy put up some good resistance, definitely had some good spy games, but just unfortunately the pacing was a little too slow on too many of them. And just Bryce's sniper was super, super on point. And I think that really makes sense. Like I said, Slappy's been playing for a long time, but isn't necessarily practicing as often as Bryce is right now. And sort of really serving as a gatekeeper here. You know, if you can beat me, you absolutely deserve to make it further into this championship. And even though Bryce is the lowest seed in the championship, like I said, he has won. Now it's 4 out of his 5 most recent matches. So absolutely on an uptick. So going into the next round, the higher seeds who are already in the next round are going to have their pick of which opponent they want to play. And so we'll see. We'll see if the highest seed wants to say, you know, well, Bryce was the lowest seed, I want to play him. Or if they're going to say, you know what, Bryce is actually looking a little bit scary now. Maybe I would rather face someone else. So it's really interesting the way the championship works. We're going to see we get to see all those higher seeds pick who they want to face, which is really, really revealing about how players are seen. Okay, so we have another match coming up now. We're going to be moving on to the Masters Championship.